Hey guys, how y'all doing? And welcome to Scott Candle Horsemanship. So, most of the time when I work with a horse trying to get him to do something that we need them to do, I want to make it the easiest I can for the horse. But sometimes there's things that we have to do to these guys that requires them to have a little bit more self-control because it's not always all that pleasant. And that is worming day. So whenever I come in here and I work with a horse, I do a session with him, I want to start this thing on the right foot. And I want to have a horse that's mellow and that's in a good frame of mind. He's already kind of there. I want him to be connected to me. And normally I wouldn't have the halter on him, but I want him to stay connected and be thinking about what it is that we're going to be doing. If he were to be running around looking at everything else and not really connected with me and not in a good frame of mind, I'm not ready to teach him anything. So I want to get him to a very at peace state of mind. Then we'll do our work, and then we want to finish going back to that real mellow, nice, peaceful state of mind. If we can do that every time, they're going to retain a whole lot more. So we know that Kola here is not real happy about getting wormers stuck up in his mouth. It doesn't taste very good. Texture is probably not very good, but they have to be able to handle it. So we want to make it as easy as we can, but he also has to have a little bit of responsibility in keeping his head together while we're doing this. So you can see he's posturing himself, turning his head away from it. He knows that I'm working on that side. So he's going to start looking for ways to avoid it. And when he kind of relaxes and kind of stops moving, I'm waiting for him to stop moving. I am not going to put this in his mouth when he's a moving target. Put my finger in the corner of his mouth. He did that pretty good. I want him to see it. I'm not going to hide this thing on him at all. You know, unless something is absolutely necessary, it's a life or death situation, we don't want to get into a fight with these guys. It just makes things worse in the long run. He's actually handling that really well. So he's a little bit bracy right here. He knows what's going on, and so he's trying to go away from it. So I'm not just going to yank on him and pull his head over, but I will keep a slight tension on there, and I'm waiting for him to come off the tension. He's bracing pretty good. There's the change. Very nice. Now a lot of times, you know, we're kind of pressed for time and we want to just jam this thing in there, get it done, and call it good. But we do that, all we're going to wind up doing is fighting him the next time. his head just a little bit. He's trying to drop it down, trying to find ways to avoid. But all in all, he's doing really well. So have not even squirted any in there. He's just getting the stuff that's in the end of the tube. But he doesn't seem to be too bothered by the taste. All right. Make sure that he's soft as I pull his head over, kind of holding on to there a little bit. And that is about as good as he did really well with that. Very, very happy with him. So that was pretty anticlimactic. He actually did really well, but it's about the presentation. It's how we present these things to these guys. I don't want to get into a fight with him because he'll relate that to the taste of the wormer. Even though the wormer doesn't taste all that bad, he's going to relate the chaos and the problem, the fight with it. So I definitely don't want to leave a bad taste in his mouth. Anyhow. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and work with another horse now. You guys probably remember Chester. We're just going to do the exact same thing. I'm just going to present this to him in a real calm, relaxed way. He's already pretty relaxed. He's pretty calm, so I don't need to go through any kind of warm up or having him move around the round pen at all. But you can see when I kind of present this to him, he kind of leans away from it. He's just kind of telling me he's not real thrilled about this idea. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and see if I can get him to start kind of addressing this and looking at it, like right there. I want to see if I can use my finger to start to desensitize him around the mouth a little bit. He's still kind of locked up here. There we go. There's no pressure on the lead rope at all if he kind of acknowledges me. So if he kind of comes back this way, there's no pressure on it. There we go. I don't want to hold him here. I want him to be able to hold himself here. So if he's walking, I'm just going to kind of go easy. I'm not going to, there's no pressure on the lead rope. I may wait until he stops. Same kind of thing we did with his foot. As soon as he stops, now he's trying to avoid, then I'll just wait for him to come back over. And get that change in his mind. Whatever that thought is that he's got in his head, he's trying to walk away from it. And we'll just do that again. If we have to go back and do this 10 times, it doesn't matter. Different ways. You see, he's kind of pulling away a little bit to that side. He's turning his head to the right. So as soon as he can kind of release that, there we go, then I'll release. This just doesn't help with getting the wormer put in his mouth. This is kind of for everything. Everything that they brace against or they go away from that they're nervous or bothered about, if we can teach them to stick around, to kind of stay focused on what it is right here at the moment, on what we're doing, rather than having that thought in their head that, oh boy, this is going to be bad, I got to try to find a way out of here. So I really like the licking and chewing. That's awesome. So I'm just kind of getting prepared, or getting him prepared for working around his mouth. There's that thought goes into his head that I got to try to get away from this. So I'm not going to correct him. I'm not going to get mad at him, because he's trying to get away what he is perceiving is as something uncomfortable to him. And I could force him here, and I could make him stand here, stay here, but if I do, I'm not really addressing the underlying problem. I want him to know that there really isn't any problem. Because so much of this stuff, you know, the aversion to this wormer, it really doesn't taste all that bad. But I think the aversion to it is how it's been presented and how it's been given to him in the past. And it's not like people are bad. They're not, you know, they weren't trying to be bad with him. But I think he just kind of maybe got into a little bit of a fight with him. It was kind of a problem, and he wasn't going to deal with that. And so he just kind of remembers that. See, he immediately thought about, I think I want to back up and get out of here. Taking a slow foot back, but again, I just want to bring him this way a little bit with just a slight pressure on the lead rope. And I want him to stop this bracing that he's going against this, so that his mind comes back over here, right like that. Wasn't 100%, but he released a little bit. And that's what we're trying to always teach these horses, is just release. Don't hold, don't brace yourself. Don't go against that pressure. Release from it. Just kind of relax and release from it. Doesn't matter to me if this takes a half an hour or an hour. This time, if we do it right, eventually he's going to be able to take it without any problem. And it doesn't mean that, you know, I've got this lead rope, and yes, I could use it. My goal is to get him to where it doesn't take very much at all to use this. If I have to use it, maybe I just barely pick it up. But I'm not going to get into that death grip and have him just be pulling one direction and me pulling the other. That's really what we want to try to avoid. Anytime he's looking away, his mind says, I want to leave, I want to get out of here. And what I'd like him to do, there's break free and walk forward. Walk towards this thing that he's got a little aversion to. I'm just going to give a little pressure here and ask him to kind of step towards this. There we go. See, if he's already telling me that this bothers him, then just from rubbing it on his nose, it's not going to get any easier when we go to put it in his mouth. As he gets a little bit better, then we'll put a little bit more on him. You know, but he needs to look back here at this thing that's bothering him. Again, he hasn't released yet, so I'm waiting for him to release. There's the release. I'm going to let him back away, but just this far. And again, get him to step forward just a little bit. There we go. One of the issues here is that he doesn't respect the halter enough. And so I'm going to set it up where when he pulls back, he starts to put some pressure on himself. I'm not putting it on him, he's putting it on himself. Anytime I look and I see their feet not squared up, I know they're thinking about maybe moving. I'll just kind of hold and I go with them. I'm not going to get into a fighting tug of war with him, but I am going to keep a fair amount of pressure until he can learn how to step forward off of it, just like that. If he was to pull really hard, I'll just go with him and keep a pretty good amount of tension until he can learn to come back forward. So it's really only on this left side that he's really bothered by, because I think that's where he's had it before. Maybe we'll come and work on this, rub it on his neck and on his cheek. Again, just going to go here. I'm not pulling on him, he's pulling on me. But he's not getting anywhere. And eventually he'll stop doing that, because that's kind of just him doing it. That's not me doing it. So this is good. This one's taking a little bit longer. But patience and persistence is what's going to cause him to be able to learn. Much better. There was a nice change right there. Nice big sigh. I like that. Doesn't mean he's ready, but better. But you can see that we're changing those pathways. We're changing the reaction that he has to this. They get these habits, and these habits are just basically the pathways that are causing the reaction. So they cause him to think that he has to leave. What I would have done in the past is maybe run him around in the round pen and get him kind of breathing a little bit heavy, and then let him stand and rest, and then present it to him. But basically that's just still forcing something on him, and that's making choosing the lesser of two evils, basically. And I really want him to get good at this, so he doesn't have any more problems with it. And by keeping myself in check, staying relaxed, but staying firm when I need to be, is really what's going to help him to understand that everything's going to be okay. If I start to get frustrated with him and get into a little bit of a fight with him, he's really going to remember that. And I don't want that to be a bad deal. So he's letting me put it right up to the corner of his mouth there. Sometimes we just have to really kind of listen. Stop and listen to these guys and give them a few minutes to process what's going on. It's amazing what you can get done when you do that. I'm basically taking this just like I would be if I was, and I'm putting my thumb right here in his mouth, but I'm taking this basically just like I would, you know, if I was going to give it to him. I can have my fingers on the halter, but they're not pulling on anything. He's not pulling away. So our next step is we'll take the cap off, and we will, that'll have that, you know, more of a smell to it and a flavor to it. It's pulling away a little bit, so see, I just have one finger on this halter, and I just want him to not pull against it. There we go. Give him lots of praise when they do the right thing. And as long as he's trying, man, I'm going to give him all of the time he wants, as long as he's trying for me. Now I'm just going to gently hold. I'm going to go back. Those are just reactions. They're just the same thing that he's had before. Very nice. So I didn't squirt anything in there. I just put it in his mouth, and he tasted a little bit of it and tasted a little funny. But we didn't poke him. Went in there nice and smooth. Didn't hit his teeth or his gums or cheek or anything. There we go. Do that again. Very nice. So we're just about ready here to give him this now. And I'm not trying to sneak anything on him. I'm not trying to trick him in any way, because I want him to trust me. I'm just going to be upfront with him and persistent and consistent with him. And that was about as nice as any horse can take that. They don't like it. I know it tastes funny, but I want to reward him and let him know that he's okay and that things are still good. Just doesn't like that taste too much. So that was a good one. He was a little bit tougher than the other, and just taking that little bit of time. You know, if we can do this, it may be a little shorter next time, and then a little shorter next time, and pretty soon it won't be anything for him to take this wormer. Anyhow, I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, subscribe, share. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to talking to you soon.